What is photojournalism? Photojournalism is a branch of photography that uses photos or images to tell a story. A person who practices photojournalism is called photojournalist. His photos come out in a newspaper and magazines, as well as non-traditional visual media like websites and blogs. Characteristic of photojournalism. The first one is photojournalism is relevant. The main objective of photojournalism is to tell a story better than the text or write-up that usually accompanies the photos. Therefore, it should capture images that have meaning or relevance to the story being told. For example, a story about a mother reunited with her daughter after being apart from 20 years will be more effective if it is accompanied by the photo showing them rushing into the other's arm. The second characteristics of photojournalism is photojournalism is timely. Photojournalism should tackle current issues. It should feature something that's that is on the news or something people are talking about. This will make the images more interesting to the audience or reader. Example, after her triumph in the London Olympics, for example, numerous photos of US gymnast Gabrielle "Gabby" Douglas in action were spread throughout the internet. These photos were accompanied by short descriptions of how Gabby captured the attention of the crowd and the judges. The images help people from different parts of the world to experience her victory and celebrate with her. The third characteristic of photojournalism is objective. Photojournalism is not biased. It does not take sides. Therefore, the images should accurately show events as they are. Some photographers, however, argue that to be completely objective is quite difficult. According to them, the term honest is more appropriate in describing photojournalism. No matter what a photojournalism believes in, whether he prefers to be objective or honest, the most important thing is for him to present the images as is. The secret is not to force the situation. For example, a photojournalist shooting a burial scene should not force his subject to shed tears because he wants to create a dramatic effect. Real emotions are captured candidly. The fourth characteristic of photojournalism is narrative. Photojournalism works best if it is presented as a narrative. The photos should come with a short write-up or article stating important facts about the incident or event. It should tell a story. For example, a photo that shows two little girls lifting a small box of old clothes tells a clearly story than one that shows a box marked with old clothes. The fifth and the last characteristic of photojournalism is it is aesthetically interesting. Photojournalists follow certain photography principles that are intended to help them produce photos that catch the attention of different audiences. Photos with the right focus, angle, and color will attract more people than those that come out blurry or unfocused. Now we're going to discuss about the different fields of journalism or photojournalism. The first one is we call it the general news. Pertains to any event that is planned ahead of time. Examples are press conferences, product launches, or ceremonies and fundraising dinners. The second one is spot or breaking news. It refers to any events or incident that is unplanned. You don't know whether or when it will happen. And sometimes it should even have happened. Examples are house or building fire, a burglary or a car incident. The third one is documentary photojournalism. This refers to a long-term photography project like trailing a candidate during the campaign period or documenting the life of an orphan child. The fourth one is the sports photography, the most action-packed side of photojournalism. You can take photos of any sports, a basketball game, a football championship match, and even a special taekwondo tournament. Another field of photojournalism is portrait photojournalism. This is not your typical portrait photo. In photojournalism, portrait shots involve significant members of the community shown in their unusual environment, like a race car driver beside his car, a doctor inside the operating room, or the US President in an Oval Office. We're going to also discuss about the basic photojournalism tips. The first one is good photos tell a story better than the text that comes with it. And in order to tell a story, your photos should have the following elements. The first one is human or people, emotions like facial and nonverbal expressions, actions, or something extraordinary or unusual, like a blind father braille reading a story to his kid. The second one is your photo should focus on the faces of the people, not in their backs or the backs of their heads. Take photos of people in action or people doing things. Avoid taking photos of people shaking hands or handing out awards as this tend to be bore the audience. The third one is make sure that your subject is always in focus. Know what your central subject should be. For example, when taking photos of people stranded because of a storm, your focus should be on the people, not on the torrent of rains. If you want to focus on the rain, your story should be about the storm, not the stranded people. Number 4 is think twice or thrice before deciding to take photos of naked people. This practice can be quite tricky as the photos might be misinterpreted by some groups of individuals. Study the circumstances first before taking the photos. For instance, when doing a story about bare-chested native woman, you need to determine first how to take the photo in a manner that won't come out offensive, or in a way that can be interpreted as gratuitous. Ask yourself if the nudity can really add something to the story before making a decision. And lastly, always take note of the angle of the shot you are taking. To make sure that you are choose the right angle, take a couple of shots in different perspective. This is a similar to what film directors do when they want to capture the scene of their movies in different points of view. Isang magandang umaga sa inyong mga gilo kong mag-aaral. Ngayong araw, ang ating paksang pag-aaralan ay tungkol sa pagsulat ng mga tanging lathalain. At para sa paksang ito, ang ating mga tatalakayin ay tungkol sa Ano ang katuturan ng tanging lathain? Ang mga anyo at piling lathalain? Katangian ng tanging lathalain? Ano ang mga layunin nito? At ano ang uri ayon sa pagkakasulat ng mga tanging lathalain? Muli, isang magandang umaga. Ako po ang inyong maestro na nagsasabing ang karunungan at kaalaman ng isang tao ay nakukuha hindi lamang sa paaralan, maging ito man ay sa payak na pakikipagtalastasan kanino man. Ano nga ba ang tanging lathain? Sabi dito, ito ay isang sanaysay na batay sa tunay na pangyayari na nagtataglay ng mga pagpapaliwanag, sanligan at impresyon ng manunulat. Ito rin ay isang uri ng pahayagan na nag-uulat ng mga katotohanang bagay o pangyayari batay sa pakikipag-aral o sa pag-aaral, pananaliksik, o pakikipanayam at sinulat sa isang paraang kawili-wili. Ito din ay isang uri ng sulatin na ang kawilihan ay ibang bagay sa halip na sa mahalagang tala. Sinusulat ang mga tanging lathain para, una, magpabatid, magturo at manlibang. Yan ang mga layunin kung bakit tayo nagsusulat ng mga tanging lathalain. Ano naman ang mga anyo ng piling lathalain? Una, maaring isulat ito sa anumang forma, anyo at estilo. Ikalawa, maaaring isulat sa ayos ng pabaliktad na piramide tulad ng mga balita o sa ayos ng pasalaysay. Ano nga ba ang mga katangian ng tanging lathalain? Una, walang tiyak na haba. Maaring maikli, maaring mahaba, depende sa nilalaman na gustong itala ng isang manunulat. Ito ay batay sa katotohanan na maaring may kaugnayan sa isang balita. Maaring sulatin sa anumang anyo, estilo o pamamaraan, ngunit kailangang ito ay naangkop sa nilalaman at layunin nito. Ikaapat, ginagamitan ng makabagong patnubay, yung tinatawag nating novelty lead, sa halip na kabuurang pamatnubay o summary lead. Nasusulat sa himig na payak na pakikipagkaibigan o pakikipagtalastasan. Kaanim, maaring sulatin sa una, ikalawa at katlong panauhan. Ginagamitan ng makabagong pamatnubay sa halip na Kapito, pinakamalayang pagsulat sa lahat ng uri ng pahayagang akda. Kawalo, maaaring gumamit ng pang-uri, tayutay, o idioma hanggang kailangan. Kasyam, nagsasaad ng mga ulat batay sa masusing pag-aaral, pananaliksik at pakikipanayam. Ikasampu, karaniwang nasusulat sa paraang pataas ang kawilihan. At ikalabing-isa, may panimula, katawan at wakas katulad ng ibang mga talata. Maaring sulatin sa una, ikatatlo at ilang panauhan. Mga uri ng tanging lathalain. Una, lathalaing nagpapabatid. Ito ay nagbibigay ng pakipakinabang na ulat. nagdaragdag ng kalaman o karunungan at may layuning magturo o magpayo. Halimbawa, ito ay ang dapat gawin kapag may malakas na lindol. Tanging latring pabalita. Ito ay batay sa isang balitang nakapupukaw ng damdamin. Pinapalawak nito ang bahagi ng balita na may pangyayaring di pangkaraniwan. May kababalaghan o makabagong likha na nagbibigay sa mamabasa ng kalaman, simpatya o kawilihan. Halimbawa nito ay ang tagtuyot sa Timog Luzon. Pangkatauhang lathalain o yung tinatawag nating lathalaing dagli. Ang paksa nito ay ang pangkaraniwang Ang paksa nito ay ang paglalarawan ng mga kilalang tao, ang kanilang buhay, kanilang karanasan, mga gawain, patakaran sa buhay at dahilan ng kanilang tagumpay o kabiguan. Ang halimbawa nito ay latalain tungkol sa isang artista, manlalaro o mga awit o sinumang sikat na tao. Latalaing pangkasaysayan. Nahawig sa latalaing pagpabatid subalit pinapaksa nito ang isang kasaysayan ng tao, bagay o lunan. Halimbawa nito ay ang ebolusyon ng bandilang Pilipino, ang EDSA Revolution. Latalaing pangsariling karanasan. Ito ay nauukol sa mga di pangkaraniwang karanasan ng manunulat ng ibang tao ayon sa pagkakasalaysay ng may akda. Latalaing pakikipanayam. Ang paksa nito ay ang kuro-kuro at kaisipan ng isang kilalang tao. Ang lahat hinggil sa kuro-kurong ito ay nakukuha sa pamagitan ng pakikipanayam. Latalaing panlibang, dahilan sa layunin nito ay magbigay ng kawilihan, pinakapili ang paksa upang magsilbing gamot sa mga taong nalulumbay o pampalipas sa oras ng mga taong nais malibang. Halimbawa nito ay ang kahulugan ng halik. Hi, good morning writers. I'm your maestro, and today we are going to discuss about what is an editorial. So in this topic, we're going to discuss what is an editorial, the possible contents, and what are the things that we are going to consider in writing an editorial. So what is an editorial? Do you have any idea about what is an editorial? An editorial is an article that presents the newspaper's opinion on an issue. It reflects the majority vote of the editorial board, the governing body of the newspaper made up of editors and business managers. Editorial writers build on argument and try to persuade readers to think the same way they do. Editorials are meant to influence public opinion, promote critical thinking, and sometimes cause people to take action on an issue. In an essence, editorial is an opinionated news story. In writing editorial, we have to consider the following. Or let's say editorials have the following. Number one, it should have introduction, body, and conclusion like other news stories. The second one, editorials should have an objective that explain the issue, specifically the complex ones. And of course, this is very important, editorials have a timely news angle. And then the fourth one, editorials have opinions from the opposing viewpoint that refute directly the same issues the writer addresses. And of course, editorials have the opinions of the writers or the writer delivered in a professional manner. Good editorials engage issues, not personalities, and refrain from name-calling or other petty tactics of persuasions. Editorials have alternative solutions to the problem or issue being criticized. Anyone can gripe about a problem, but a good editorial should take a proactive approach to making situation better by constructive criticism and giving solutions. Editorials have a solid and concise conclusions that powerfully summarizes the writer's opinion, or let's say it gives some punch. So what are the types of editorials? Will the first one, number one, the first editorial wheels is explain or interpret. Editors often use these editorials to explain the way the newspaper cover a sensitive or controversial subject. School newspaper may explain new school rules or particular student body effort like food drive. Number two, criticize. These editorials constructively criticize actions, decisions, or situation while providing solution to the problem identified. Immediately propose is to get readers to see the problem, not the solution. Number three, persuade. Editorials of persuasions aim to immediately see the solution, not the problem. From the first paragraph, readers will be encouraged to take a specific positive action. Political endorsement are a good example of editorials of persuasions. And number four, praise. These editorials commend people and organization for something done well. They are not as common as other three. In writing an editorial, we have to consider the following. Number one, we have to pick a significant topic that has a current news angle and would interest the readers. Number two, we have to collect information and facts, include objective reporting, and do some research. Number three, we have to state your opinion briefly in the fashion of a thesis statement. Number four, explain the issue objectively as a reporter would and tell why this situation is important. Number five, give opposing viewpoints first with its quotations and facts. Number six, we have to refute or reject the other side and develop your case using facts, details, figures, quotations, and then pick apart from the other side logic. Number seven, concede a point of opposition. They must have some good points. You can acknowledge that would make you look rational. Number eight, repeat key phrases to reinforce an idea into the reader's mind. Number nine, give a realistic solutions to the problem that goes beyond common knowledge. And of course, you have to encourage critical thinking and proactive reaction. Number 10, you have to wrap it up in a concluding punch that restate your opening remark or your thesis statement. And number 11, in writing an editorial, keep it 500 words. Make every word count and never use I example structure.